Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Beeb. And we have a great show for you today. And as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions or just give your 2 cents, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight, somewhere around there. Today, we're going to talk about Manny Pacquiao is still giving excuses as to why he lost the Jeff Horn fight. Tell you what, man, he's got more excuses than a guy going to prison, man. He's blaming everybody. The ref, his cornermen, a cold, everything. Canelo versus Triple G is sold out. So if you were hoping to get a ticket, I think you might be out of luck on this one, man. They priced him pretty high anyway. So, that's a tough ticket. But we'll tell you more about that and how you can watch the fight. And why is Floyd Mayweather fighting Conor McGregor? We got the real answer here today. But first, we get started with Josh Taylor and Ohara Davis. Josh Taylor stopped Ohara Davis in the 7th round on Saturday. Taylor knocked Davies down in the 3rd with a huge, looked like a what is it, a cross? It was a hook, wasn't it, Beeb? That he knocked him down?
It was almost like a hybrid punch. It was like a half jab, half hook type punch.
Yeah.
It almost looked like a jab, but it had a little bit of a loop to it. You know what I mean?
That's right. The hook's what finished him. Yeah, the hook. Yeah, it was it caught him. It caught him flush. It was a good shot. I mean, it caught him flush.
And, I think he knocked him down with a jab first. The first punch, the first knockdown was with almost like a power jab.
Yeah.
And it was astounding because it seemed his jab in this fight seemed like a power punch. It was really heavy.
Coming in hard with it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, he was.
Taylor finished the fight in the 7th round with a big hook. That was that monster hook I was thinking about that dropped Davies. The Davies got up and then got hit a couple more times. It wasn't even a flurry. He just like got hit once or twice. And then he just turns his back. And that was it. I mean, he just quit the fight. And then Taylor, he just turned his back, man. Referee jumped in. Fight was stopped.
Yeah.
I was surprised, man. I expected Ohara Davies to win this fight. He did not look good at all. I don't think he didn't look good from start to finish, man. That's for sure. Josh Taylor put a lot of pressure on him. And Beeb, you're the guy who breaks down the fights here. Talk to me a little bit about Ohara Davies' style. It looked like a Philly – I mean, it was definitely a Philly shell, but it looked like almost like a modified Philly shell where that elbow, that left elbow was just coming out. You know what I mean? And, like, when you watch him, it's almost like the elbow was dropped. His left elbow was dropped, exposing his chin. So it didn't look like he had enough to come up. It's almost like he wasn't real defensive.
Well, if you notice, too, when Floyd Mayweather fights southpaws, doesn't use the shoulder roll. Gets in a more conventional stance with his hands up high. So that's why he was so susceptible to the right hook. Because if you're going to fight a southpaw, that's probably the worst stance to use against a southpaw, because you're going to be susceptible to the jab and the right hook. And it's just hard. It's just not really designed to fight against the southpaw. It's just not ideal to do that, the one thing about Taylor that really surprised me, because he only had 9 fights going in, and Davies was the more experienced guy. He was for whatever you want to call it, the WBC silver junior welterweight champion. I don't know how much stock you want to put in that, but with all due respect to Davies, I don't want to put any shade on him, but you know how I feel about all these ridiculous belts. But whatever the case may be, a lot of people had high hopes for Davies. He was supposed to be one of those up-and-coming red-hot type prospect guys, and he was favored in this fight, slightly favored. He wasn't a huge favorite, but a lot of people were talking up Josh Taylor too, and I didn't see a lot of Josh Taylor. And one of my friends on Facebook, I'm giving him a shout out, Ryan Hong. He said, "Hey, this guy is tough. Don't sleep on this guy. He's going to beat Davies." And he was one of the few people that I had spoken to that picked not Davies, I'm sorry, Josh Taylor. He was one of the few people that I've spoken to that did pick Taylor. But Taylor did an excellent job at controlling the range, and he, was pushing Davies back. Davies was trying to play the counterpunch role here. He was trying to suck Taylor into traps. He's trying to slow the pace of the fight down. Tried to, looking to land something big that would kind of take the wind out of Taylor's sails. But Taylor just kept coming at him, putting the punches together, varied up his attack, really wasn't loading up. And, he was catching him with those real sneaky shots, particularly the right hook. And he had no defense for the right hand of Josh Taylor. And then, I would say in about the 5th, 6th round, Davies started coming back a little bit. I don't know if Taylor was a little bit complacent, if he was getting a little bit overconfident because he was having his way so easily in the beginning of the fight, because he was kind of clowning Davies a little bit. And Davies' momentum there, got in the mid-range a little bit. He was throwing some looping shots that he was able to catch Josh Taylor with, some wild looping shots, not really conventional punches. But Taylor took the play right back away from him, and he was just going to the body. He was really taking Davies' legs apart. And Davies just did not look durable in this fight. He looked like every punch that hit him had an effect on him. And maybe he was just mentally broken. And maybe he was saying, there's nothing I can do to keep this guy off me. I'm hitting him with my best. He keeps coming forward. And Taylor just imposed his size, his strength, and his will on Davies. And a lot of people don't like to hear, oh, what's that mean, impose his size, strength, and will? They think that's kind of a code word for fighting in a bullying type manner, or just using your size to maul or whatever. And it's not particularly thought of as a sweet science. But again, when you're a big guy and you just impose your will, you push a guy back and you get leverage, because the taller guy, when he's punching down, he's getting a lot more leverage on a guy that's punching up. And, inside those clinches, you lean on a guy, you give him the shoulder, you grab him, pull, maneuver him, bully him around a little bit, and he tries to, break free of that. He's going to use a lot more energy than you're going to use. So these are little nuances of the game in the sport of boxing that people just don't pick up on, and they try to oversimplify it. But, it is what it is. This kid Taylor really showed me something in this fight, and I'm going to keep my eye out for him. So we'll see what happens. But excellent performance from him. Davies, I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. He seemed like he gassed out early, and I don't know if that was due to him just being the smaller guy and being overwhelmed by the fast pace of the fight and dealing with the bigger man, or maybe he has conditioning problems. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how he rebounds from this loss and what he does moving forward.
I was really surprised that, when he came out and he was doing that, like I said, that Philly shell or whatever, and he wasn't, just the way he was, just the way he was employing it just didn't look right to me, So I guess my thing is, and you brought up a good point. You said, I don't know if he broke or whatever. My thing is, I thought that after that first knockdown, that was it for him. That, yeah, he did. You could see it in his face, because it was at the end of the 3rd round. The bell had rung, and you looked at him, and it looked almost like he didn't want to get up. He looked really surprised, really shocked, and really dejected all at the same time.
What's funny too, Eric, is there's a lot of bad blood between these two guys, and I'm not sure if you were able to take a look at some of the build-up and the press conferences leading up to this fight. These guys were really had strong words for each other, and you would think that Davies would have brought it. He would have went out on a shield. And again, I hate to criticize a fighter. If he feels like he can't continue, he's too hurt to continue, then by all means, we all have our breaking points. We all do. So it was just amazing because of the way he was talking and just how amped up he was for this fight leading up to it. And you would have thought he would have just let it all hang out there. But it just seems like he was almost intimidated in this fight. And I don't know, Taylor's a big guy. He's definitely a big guy in his weight class. And, he's got some good skills as well. He's a little slick. He's a little crafty. He did some really good upper body movement in this fight. He was really solid defensively in this fight. So it's going to be interesting you know, with him bringing this big, imposing package, along with the skill that he brings to the table as well. I don't want to, you know, sell the kid too much because, again, this was against another guy. But Davies was supposed to be a hot prospect. He was supposed to be a real tough out for him, and he dominated him. I thought he won every round just about.
A lot of hype.
Maybe
a lot of hype coming in.
Yeah, maybe you can give. Yeah, maybe you can give Davies maybe the 5th. I don't even think. No, you really couldn't give him any round, to be honest with you.
I couldn't give him any round.
You wanted to give him, I couldn't give him any round. If you wanted to give him a charity round, maybe you can give him the 5th if you wanted to. But this was a 50-50 fight. Josh Taylor, as I said, not to be redundant, he was the underdog, and he fought like a 10-1 favorite in this fight. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see this kid again. I really am. I
definitely want to see Josh Taylor again, but I tell you what, as far as Ohara Davis is concerned, he ain't never coming back from this. I think he's done. I really do. He's through. Yeah. You know, when you quit the fight like that, and not saying, I mean, is it valid that he quit the fight? Yeah. If he wanted to, you know, if he wanted out and he was looking, that's fine. Hey, listen, man, I'm not in there taking punches, so you do what you got to do to get the fight to go your way. And if that means stepping out of there, it means stepping out of there. But, you know, once you do that, though, it's a tough road back. You know what I mean? I don't see any way he comes back and boxes at a higher level again. Certainly doesn't come back and fight any, you know, and he's a young guy. It's going to be real tough. It's going to be tough to come back from this, and I just don't see it.
Yeah. I mean, you make an excellent point, and now that I think of it, when you look at the body language in this fight,
yeah,
you know, and you look at just his face, as you said, he just looked like his soul was taken from him in this fight. You know, it happens to guys. You know, you see guys that are just be in that one fight, and they're never the same after it, and this could be that fight for him. Definitely could be that fight for him.
Well, you look at remember the Meldrick Taylor, Julio Cesar Chavez. Taylor was never the same after that fight.
Never. No.
And he came back and won a title. I believe it was against Adrien Davis, if I'm not mistaken. But he still didn't look good in that fight. And then he ended up fighting Crisanto Espana, who just like took him apart, you know, and then Morris did the same thing. So, yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes you're in fights and you're not the same afterwards. And Ohara, like you said, from that body language or whatever, he didn't want to be in there. There was no, it didn't seem to me, you know, and I'll tread carefully here. It didn't seem to me there was any, like, I'm going to bite down on my mouthpiece. And if I get, you know, knocked out, I get knocked out. But we're going at it now.
There was no Mickey Ward or a Toro in him at all.
Right. Exactly. There was none of that. You know, once he got knocked down, it's like, you know, after that third round, you know, you could see him, you know, where it was tough for him and he knew it was tough for him and he kind of looked confused in the first 2 rounds. But after that third round, when he got knocked out and the camera zoomed in on his face, you saw it, that he didn't want any more of this. He didn't want to do it anymore. And then the 7th round, when he just kind of turned and walked away and they stopped the fight, I mean, that's it, man. You're not coming back from that. I mean, that's his career in a sense. I mean, he'll come back. Don't get me wrong. He's going to come back. He's going to fight again. But he'll never be at that same level again.
Yeah.
He'll never, you know, he's not – they're not going to – his promoters or whatever, there's nothing they're going to be able to do with him, put it that way.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough road back.
Yeah, oh, for sure. For sure.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know.
I hope I'm wrong. You know, I don't want to see it.
We'll see.
You know, he's in there and, you know, hey, I mean, I hope I'm wrong. But typically, like I said, I mean, you and I have been around enough to know that when we see stuff, this is kind of where it goes, man, afterwards. So tough.
No, I agree.
Another fight this weekend, WBA Cruiserweight Champion. This just in, actually. WBA Cruiserweight Super Champion Denis Lebedev retained his title over Mark Flanagan with a 12-round unanimous decision. It was dropped. I guess he dropped Flanagan in the 9th, but it was pretty lopsided. So nothing major there. So that's the news. That's the fights, man. How about that? I mean,
not a lot of action this week, but next week,
a whole lot at all.
Next week we got some decent fights coming up.
All right, well, let's talk about them here. All right. So the upcoming fight schedule here. Robert. July 14th. That's a Friday, yeah?
That Friday, and we got Showbox on that night.
All right, there it is from Miami, Oklahoma. Ivan, you know what I'm looking at this was oh man, his name escapes me. Morrison, Trey Lippy Morrison. Was he supposed to be on this card?
That is
Maybe.
correct.
Is that
Maybe.
what I mean, when did he pull out? I mean, was that
He's supposed to be on a lot of cards that he pulled out.
That's the thing with remember he was supposed to be on the June 9th Showbox, and he pulled out of that, so they moved it to New York, and he was supposed to be on this one, and he pulled out. I don't think Morrison wants to take his career seriously. That's the conclusion I'm coming to.
Well, I mean, because who fights in Miami, Oklahoma? You know what I mean? I mean, why are they going to televise something and build a card in Miami, Oklahoma?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying it's not a good venue.
Against Oklahoma.
Right,
I mean,
I'm not
we got
saying
Santos that calls there, but
yeah, I'm just saying, saying that, I mean, if you're going to put a card somewhere, it just seems like an odd place to put it. Nevertheless, there will be a card there July 14th. Ivan Branchek versus Keenan Smith, 8 rounds junior welterweights. Kenneth Sims Jr. versus Rolando Chinea, 8 rounds junior welterweights. And Glenn DeZern versus Adam Lopez, 8 rounds bantamweights. And this is a Showbox card. So Antoine Douglas also on the card versus Bruno Sandoval. I'm not sure if that'll be televised or not. So we'll see.
Well, I'm glad Antoine Douglas is coming back, because the last fight he was in, he took a brutal beating, and I didn't think he'd ever come back. Yeah.
On Australia TV the same night, Roger Gutierrez versus Rene Alvarado, 8 rounds junior lightweights. And Edgar Valerio versus Jairo Hernandez, 8 rounds featherweights. So then that moves us on to Saturday, July 15th from Inglewood, California on HBO. Miguel Berchelt versus Takashi Miura, 12 rounds for Berchelt's WBC junior lightweight title. Jezreel Corrales versus Robinson Castellanos, 12 rounds for Corrales' WBA junior lightweight title. And Joe Smith Jr. returns, fresh off his knockout of Bernard Hopkins, versus Sullivan Barrera, 10 rounds light heavyweights. And then let's go to the cards, and we'll come back to these couple of cards here. Then the PBC on Fox Deportes, Fox Sports 1, Uniondale, New York. This is going to be on Fox, PBC on Fox Deportes and Fox Sports 1. So you'll be able to see them both places. Figueroa.
This will be regular Fox.
Oh, is it? Is this on what, channel 19 or what?
Yeah,
not
it's regular. It's regular Fox if you're talking about the Robert Guerrero, Marcus Browne, and all those.
Yeah, okay. I've got it
Fox,
listed on Fox Sports 1. Okay. All right. Well, check your listings, man.
Okay.
Omar Figueroa versus Robert Guerrero, 10 rounds welterweights. Marcus Browne versus Shawnee Monaghan, 10 rounds light heavyweights. And Arthur Spiltzka versus Adam Konaki. I believe it's Konaki. 10 rounds heavyweights. And Jamal James coming back against Beeb's boy, Jojo Dan, 10 rounds welterweights. And let me see if there's anybody else we might recognize. Nope. All right, let's see what's now. Also, too, on Saturday, across the pond on Integrated Sports pay-per-view, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Arthur Abraham, 12 rounds, super middleweights. Lee Selby is also on the card versus Jonathan Barros, 12 rounds for Selby's IBF featherweight title. And there you go. And that is it, I believe, for the weekend. Let's see here. That's the 15th. Yeah, that'll be it. So there we go. All right, so let's talk about the July 15th, the HBO card. That's Miguel Berchelt versus Takashi Miura. Let me tell you what, man. Takashi Miura, it's hardly ever in a boring fight. I mean, he's always an all-action fighter. He's always in exciting type of fights. Robert, talk to me about this fight. How do you see this one going? And what do you think of this fight?
Well, I think it's going to be a typical Takashi Miura kind of fight. I think it's going to turn into be a war, but I think youth will be served here, and I think Berchelt will hang on to his title. And I think Miura has, because he's in so many wars, I think this might be one of the last times we see him on a major stage. But I think it's going to be a brawl. It's going to be a bloodbath. I think you're going to see lots of cuts. It's going to be your typical Inglewood, California Forum kind of fight. People are going to get their money's worth.
I was just going to ask you that. What do you, I mean, as far as Takashi Miura goes, has he had too many wars to really, he's going to be competitive in this fight. I think he's going to be competitive, but has he just been through too many wars?
Yeah, and that's why, Eric, I think this will be the last time we see him on a major big stage.
Wow. All right. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
You know, it's going to be a war. It's going to be a physical fight. But as you said, Miura he comes to fight. Gets hit a lot, but again, he's a durable guy. And, you know, you have to, if you're going to knock him out, you have to knock him out. He's going to go out on his shield. Berchelt, you would have to favor him, but again, he's not like one of the better champions in this weight class. He's a solid fighter. Don't get me wrong. If Miura is gonna, you know, win the title or get a title back, this would be the opponent that he would have his best chance against, in my opinion. So, it's not going to be an easy one. I'm still going to favor Berchelt, but you know, he's gonna have to work hard to keep Miura, at bay, and he's gonna have to work hard to, you know, make sure he controls this fight and not let Miura, impose his will and be that physical fighter in this fight that he likes to be, because he likes to turn the fight into a war. And if the fight is fought on his terms, then he has a shot to win it. To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I think that I think Berchelt wins. I think he wins a decision, and I think he actually makes it look easy. I think he takes apart Miura. I really do. I don't think that. I think that Miura. I like Miura a lot, and he's always in action fights. But I think Berchelt just takes him apart. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little tougher than people think, in my opinion.
Let's talk about Jezreel Corrales versus Robinson Castellanos. Robert, give me your take on this fight.
Well, I like Castellanos a lot. I think this is going to be another competitive fight, and it would not surprise me one bit if Castellanos comes out with a victory here. Every time I've seen him, he's always looked good. I know this is his first title shot. But I think he's going to look good here, and I think he's got a solid chance to win. But again, the matchmakers here on this card did a wonderful job. This is not going to be boring. This is going to be another, fun-filled fight, and people are, again, going to get their money's worth off of this. It's not going to be boring.
Beeb, what about you? What are your thoughts on this fight right here?
Which one are we talking about now?
Corrales versus Castellanos. Jezreel Corrales versus Robinson Castellanos.
Yeah.
This is another tough one too, man. This is another tough one. Oh, this is like, to me, this is a coin flip. It's a tough one, but with Castellanos, I think I'm going to go with him, man. It's just a tough one.
Yep.
Look at that.
It's tough, man.
Yeah, this is a tight one.
They're both like similar fighters. It's just like, who breaks first? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's gonna break first in this fight? That's the way I look at it. But I'll go with Castellanos. I think he may have a little bit more in the tank. He may just have that little bit more to carry him through.
Sure.
I'm gonna ride with him.
It is. Let's talk about the fight I'm most looking forward to on this card. Is Joe Smith Jr. versus Sullivan Barrera. This is the fight I really, really want to see, because, we've talked a lot about Joe Smith, and how is it that Joe Smith knocked out Andrew Fonfara, he knocked out Bernard Hopkins, and we still want to know if he's for real? We do. We want to know if he's for real. This will tell us if he's for real, because Sullivan Barrera is a really, really dangerous, good fighter. I think Sullivan Barrera probably wins this fight, but again, it would not shock me if Joe Smith Jr. wins this fight either. But I want to take Sullivan Barrera. I think Sullivan Barrera wins this fight. But why is that? Why after those two big wins do we still question him? And Hopkins was 50. I got it. But, no one's ever done to Hopkins what he did to him either.
Well, Joe Smith Jr. is going to be thought of as a crude type fighter. I don't know. I think he's a better boxer than we give him credit for. I mean, he sets up the shots well. He's a pretty strong kid. Throws everything straight down the middle. He throws, good punches. He's a tight, pretty accurate guy. He gets hit every now and then. He's not a defensive specialist, but he's going to be in there with the guy in Barrera that is going to be, he's in his prime. He's a top 10 level fighter at light heavyweight. He got by Andre Ward. But this is a good barometer fight. This is that fight that will let you know if this guy's ready to hang with the big boys or he's just a bottom level guy, like a bottom level top 15 guy. Sullivan Barrera is dangerous. He's more dangerous than Fonfora. He's more dangerous than Browne Hopkins because he can hit you, hurt you. One punch will change the fight. So this is a fight where we'll see if Joe Smith Jr. faces adversity, will he be able to come back from it? Because Fonfora and Browne Hopkins did not put him in that situation where he had to come back and face adversity. He blew Fonfora out, and Hopkins, he landed a good shot here and there, but he couldn't do anything to stop Joe Smith's momentum, couldn't slow the pace of the fight down. So he was in there with two guys that he pretty much was able to, impose his fighting style on. He's going to be in there with the guy who's used to imposing his fighting style on his opponent. And this guy, Barrera, is physically strong. He's big. He can punch. And he's a decent boxer, too. He's not a guy, he's thought of as just being kind of a brawler, slugger type. But, I think he's more than that. This is a guy that has a great jab. He's a guy that's how to fight. He can fight in the inside, fight up from a distance. Not the fastest guy in the world, but neither is Joe Smith. But you know what? Barrera, I think, is a little bit stronger, maybe a little bit quicker, and I think he definitely hits harder than Joe Smith. But what we need to see here is if Joe Smith can bring his lunch pail to this fight like he did those other two fights and just grind it out. Because that's the type of fight he's going to have to fight. He's going to have to fight a workmanlike fight. He's going to have to fight a fight where he just doesn't stop punching. He's going to have to fight a fast-paced fight, and he doesn't stop punching because if he allows Barrera to get in his comfort zone, he doesn't try to, doesn't land anything to get Barrera's respect, and Barrera's going to walk right through him. Really, really fight a fast-paced fight. He's going to have to stay busy, and he's just going to have to outwork Barrera and keep him off balance and take away his comfort zone. Don't let this guy get set because he needs to get set. He's not a guy that's quick. He's not a slick guy. He's a guy that likes to walk you down, move forward, and he's looking to plant his feet and sit down and land a power shot. So what you need to do is you need to keep punching him. Don't try to land the perfect shot against him, but just keep being busy against this guy. Sort of like what Andre Ward did. He just kept pecking away with him and then land that occasional hard shot to get your respect. And if Joe Smith does that type of style against Barrera, fights that type of fight against Barrera, then he may be able to grit it out and gut out a decision. But again, Barrera always seems to land that one big shot to turn the fight. And I'm still going to go with Barrera because he has the X factor, and Joe Smith Jr. we still don't know, because he hasn't shown us what's going to happen when I take a big shot, what's going to happen when I go down, what's going to happen when I get hurt. Can I come back from that? We've seen Barrera get hurt, we've seen him get knocked down, and we've seen him come back and knock his opponent out, in the process of him, fighting back from adversity. So he's proven himself at this level. Joe Smith hasn't. Until he does, then we're going to have to favor Barrera, in my opinion.
What's funny is that I think that Sullivan Barrera, to me, the reason I pick him is he just has more ways to win. He just has more ways to win. I think he might be a better boxer. He definitely has power. But you know what else is crazy? When you think about it, when you stop and think about it, how high we are on Sullivan Barrera. And we all three have a lot of respect for Sullivan Barrera. I think he's a great boxer and everything like that. And how easily Andre Ward just dismantled this guy. How good did Andre Ward look in that fight against this guy? I mean, I thought
he looked great.
I mean, that wasn't because we all knew Barrera's credentials. We all knew what Barrera brought to the ring. We all knew that Barrera was a good fighter coming in there, and he just made him look ordinary. Just ordinary.
He was ranked number like either I want to say he was ranked number 1 by
I think he was
IBF, if I'm not mistaken. I thought he was ranked.
I thought he was ranked number 1 when he fought him too. Yeah, I mean,
so it was kind of like it was a fight for Andre Ward to get in the rankings so he can maneuver himself into a title shot. And I think as we speak, Sullivan Barrera is in the top 5 in a lot of these sanctioning bodies. So this is a great opportunity for Joe Smith Jr. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting, man. I'm excited for this fight. I really am.
This is out of all the fights on this card, and there are 3 good ones. This is the one I'm looking forward to the most. I mean, it just is.
That's a good card. This is a good card. These are all competitive fights. These are all going to be entertaining fights, and it's going to be a great week of boxing next week.
Absolutely.
We're going to have a great Saturday.
Whoever put this card together did an outstanding job in matchmaking, and you know, man, I'm looking forward to the HBO card a lot more than I am the Fox card.
Well, talk to me real quick about Joe Smith Jr. and Sullivan Barrera, Robbie. Who do you like and why?
Well, you guys bring up wonderful points about Sullivan Barrera, and we know what kind of fighter he is. But you know what? This would be the 3rd time that Joe Smith is not expected to do anything. And it would not surprise me at all if he walks in there and you know, beats Sullivan Barrera. I don't think it would be easy because he blew out Fonfora. Fonfora didn't have a chance to do anything. And let's face it, Hopkins is my age. Bernard Hopkins probably didn't even belong. They picked the wrong opponent for Bernard Hopkins to retire with. You know, I know why Hopkins did it. He probably figured, oh, he's just a puncher. You know, it's not a big deal. You know, I can make this look easy. But, you know, I think people are sleeping on Joe Smith. I think we're going to find out a lot about him. And his powers, to me, seems to be real. And you're right. Sullivan Barrera has multiple ways to win. But, you know, when you're riding this momentum, when you're put in the ring for the 3rd time and you're not expected to do anything, and twice you're forced to go on the West Coast to do it when you're from New York, I just get the feeling that the common man will do it once again and come out victorious. I don't think it'll be a knockout by any means. I think whoever wins this fight's going to have to work for it, and I think we're going to find out about a lot about Joe Smith. But I'm going to take the common man, and I'm going to pick him by decision because I think if he wins this fight, he's going to earn it, and I'd like to see him get a title shot after this.
There you go. And I tell you what, man. I mean, and we try to stay as impartial as possible on the show. I mean, that being said, man, how can you not root for Joe Smith? I mean, really.
He's one of us.
How can you not?
Yeah,
this guy
he's one of us.
Work. This guy still goes to a construction job or whatever. He still works. How can you not root for this guy, man? This is the underdog. You know, every fight he goes in, he seems to be an underdog, and he always comes out and he wins. You're right. He's one of us. I mean, really.
He punches the clock like us.
Right. You know, I mean, so how can
we not root for this guy?
Yeah.
Probably shops at Walmart still. I mean, this guy's one of us.
Right. Exactly. You know, it's like, how can you not root for that, man? It's such a good story. Like,
I mean, he could be one of our regular callers, you know? I mean, think about that. He's one of us, man. You got to root for a guy like this. And both of you made wonderful points about Sullivan Barrera. Anybody picking Joe Smith, including me, we could not argue any of those points because he's earned his place in the division. But something just tells me that Joe Smith, for the 3rd time, is going to go in there and do what everybody thinks is impossible and put his name out there like, okay, it's my turn. Who's next? You know?
Right.
It's like me picking Castellanos, man. I'm still high off that Gamboa victory.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Robert, by the way, Eric, you didn't make a pick for that. Who do you like in that fight?
I like Castellanos.
Okay.
Imagine we're picking a guy with 12 losses, Daddy. I love this.
It's you know.
We're picking a guy with a UFC record.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Exactly. Exactly.
That's right.
Well, you know what? It's you know.
But you know what?
It's the old adage. You know, if you haven't lost it, maybe you haven't fought anybody good. You know, I mean, hey.
Yeah.
Barrios guy, man. It's not a lot of great names on his resume either. So. Decent names, but not great.
So, all right. So let's move ahead here. Let's talk about the PBC on Fox card. We have Omar Figueroa versus Robert Guerrero in the main event, 10 rounds, welterweights. Ah, wow. All right. So Figueroa should just roll this guy. There should be no issues here. This is a PBC special, you know. It's not like ESPN fights or back in the day, but this is, I mean, these are two good names. I mean, these are two good names. I just think that Robert Guerrero is, I'm surprised he's main eventing again, put it that way. I don't think he beats Omar Figueroa. I don't think so. I think Robert Guerrero's best days are probably behind him. So I'm picking Figueroa in this one. And I think it's going to be a one-sided fight. And I honestly, man, I don't want to see Guerrero get beat up. You know what I mean? I just, you know, I just don't want to see it, man. So, Robert, what about you? What do you think about this fight coming up?
You know what? I was talking to Beeb when you stepped away before the show started. I don't know legitimately how we choose a winner in this fight because Robert Guerrero, his last time out, what was it, a year ago or more, he lost to a Mexican cab driver and did not look good at all. And Omar Figueroa has been out of the ring for a year and a half. I mean, and he's got the Paulie Malignaggi syndrome where every time he hits somebody, it hurts his hands. I legitimately don't know which direction you're supposed to go in a fight like this. And honestly, if I had to choose somebody, I would choose Figueroa because I think Robert Guerrero is definitely on a banana peel. But Omar Figueroa isn't too far behind. I mean, look at how careful they've been with him, and he's making his debut at 147 pounds. You know, I just don't know what you do here. But if I had to make a choice, I'll take Figueroa. But frankly, I'm not excited about this fight, and I think it's disgusting that it's a PBC main event.
Robert
Beeb?
Bringing the heat tonight.
Well, with all due respect to Robert Guerrero, he arguably lost his last 4 fights because even the Aaron Martinez fight that he got the victory in, I thought he lost that fight.
Yeah, I thought he lost that fight too.
Against Peralta, that's a fight he clearly should have won. He was supposed to win that fight. So Robbie says he's on a banana peel. I think he already stepped on that banana peel and feet flying up in the air and hit the back of his head up on the ground after slipping on it. With all due respect to him. Well, with that being said, he's in there with a guy, Figueroa, that gets hit very, very often and easily. And he's a guy that is so injury prone. And as Robbie said, has had hand problems throughout his career. And if he has any hand issues in this fight and he's not able to fight at the pace that he normally likes to fight at, because he's another guy that fights at a high, fast-paced fight, and he's a guy that really puts out the volume when it comes to punches. But he just gets hit so easily, bruises up so easily. You know, when this fight was first announced, and I was just looking at Guerrero and thinking about his last couple of years in the sport and how he's looked in these fights recently, it seemed like a no-brainer to pick Figueroa. But then, you know, talking to people like Robbie about it, my other buddy, like as I said, I mentioned earlier in the show, Ryan Hong, my buddy from Japan, who was talking to me about this fight, and he kind of likes Guerrero in this fight because he thinks Guerrero is the more naturally bigger guy. He's the true welterweight in this fight. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Figueroa because I just think that he's gonna outwork Guerrero. Guerrero tends to just like tries to you know, go back to the ropes, and he, you know, fights with that machismo, tries to suck you in. And he just wants to go punch for punch with you. And the problem with that is just doesn't have the defensive reflexes to go punch for punch where he wants you to land one and he's going to land one. But the problem is he's taken that one and he's not able to give that one back anymore. He just doesn't have the reflexes. And he's just not as he's just not the same guy. he's not the same guy. He's not that guy that really overwhelmed Andre Berto and just took his heart and, fought an inside fight. He just can't keep the pace up. For whatever reason, he just cannot keep the pace up. In the lighter weight classes, he was a great boxer, worked behind a great jab. But as he moved into these higher weight classes, he turned into a brawler, turned into a kind of an inside fighter. But the problem is, he gets in the pocket with these guys now, and they're just outworking him. And he just can't see the punches coming anymore. Or he sees them, but he just can't react to them anymore. So Figueroa is not at that stage where you could sit there and say that he's slipped, with his reflexes. I hate to say this, but Robert Guerrero's, this is a very strong statement, very strong words that I hate to say, but he's close to being a shot fighter, in my opinion. And, this may be the fight that pushes him out the door, but we'll see if, Figueroa, who's a guy that's very easy to hit, we'll see if Robert Guerrero can land some big shots and, dictate the pace of this fight and make this fight a war and just overwhelm the smaller, younger guy up close in the pocket. We'll have to see that. I'm going to say no. But again, we'll see, because Figueroa could come out, get off to a slow start because he's been out of the ring for so long. Guerrero could jump on him early and maybe steal some of these early rounds. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to ride with Figueroa.
Now,
I think Figueroa will outwork him.
Beeb, I got a question for you. Do you think
Sure.
this is a good fight for Figueroa to make his 147-pound debut? I mean, number one, should he be moving up in weight? And do you think he'll be able to handle this weight class with his injury problems?
Well, the thing is this. It's going to be a problem for him when he fights the other big 147-pounders, the top names of the sport, because he's not a huge puncher. He's a guy that wears you down with volume. He's a grinder. And his face breaks up a little bit. He gets cut easily. He swells easily. Gets in there with an Errol Spence. Gets in there with a Danny Garcia. Gets in there with even an Adrien Broner. I think he gets taken apart. So the answer to your question is yeah. This is a good barometer fight with him, because he's going to have to look good in this fight. He's going to have to look really exceptional in this fight, or he's going to have to, answer some questions. Do I really belong in this division at this stage of my career? Because if I can't beat Robert Guerrero, and if I can't beat him impressively, and if I can't beat him going away, then how am I going to beat these other guys? So yeah, it's not a bad fight. It's a good barometer fight for him. It's a good fight for him to get his feet wet in this division, in my opinion. Yes.
I tell you, I mean, if listen, man, if you can't beat Robert Guerrero, I mean, look, I mean, he needs to find something else to do. It's just that simple. I mean, there's no way. I mean, Beeb was 100% on when he said he was close to being a shot fighter. His reflexes are gone. His footwork's gone.
Yep.
He moves up and he can't beat this guy. What? I mean, dude. I mean, the matchmakers know what they were doing when as soon as I saw this match, I was like, really? I was surprised with it, but yeah, man, he's Guerrero's not coming out of this fight, man. No, I don't. Figueroa is going to be in.
This is not a main event fight, though. Come on, people. I mean, really.
I mean, says who though? I mean, I think
the two styles, Robbie. Though, this is the thing. When you look at two fighters and you say, well, this guy's past it, well, this guy's really not a true welterweight or whatever. There's a lot of negatives you could point to in this fight. But the positive thing is both guys come to fight.
It's going to be an action fight, yep.
And both guys have to be carried out of there. So there's going to be no quitting in this fight.
Right.
And both guys, as Eric said, they're gonna bring an action-packed fight because of these two styles. I think if you just put these two styles together in terms of entertainment value, you just can't miss. Just like when you look at Gotti and Ward, people can sit there and say, well, they're not the most highly skilled fighters in the world, but they're going to give you an entertaining fight, So this is another one of those situations.
I mean, who on paper thought Ward was going to win that fight? No, I didn't think so. I thought Gotti was going to demolish him.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Ward was winning that fight. I didn't think he had a chance,
Yeah.
Marcus Browne is going to fight Shawnee Monaghan, 10 rounds, light heavyweights. And just like the last card, I was looking forward to the guy from New York, Shawnee Monaghan. I'm looking forward to this fight right here, Marcus Browne and Shawnee Monaghan. I think that Marcus Browne wins this fight. I'm fairly certain. Put it this way, just like the last fight, we said that Marcus Browne has more ways to win. I think that Marcus Browne has more ways to win, a la Sullivan Barrera has more ways to win. But you never know. You never know. But I like Marcus Browne here. I think he's just got the tools. He's an up-and-comer, man. He's got something, man. He really does. He's a good fighter.
Slick. He's really slick.
He's a good fighter, man. You can't take it away from him.
He's a big light heavyweight. He's rangy. And he uses that range very well. And this guy can hurt you with either hand. This is a guy, this is a consummate boxer puncher right here.
Yeah.
Definitely. Whereas, again, Shawnee Monaghan, another guy you want to root for, you want to get behind.
Sure.
But when you just look at, what each guy brings to the table, Shawnee Monaghan, and I've used this term a lot today, but we've talked about a lot of this type of lunch pail grinder type fighters. Shawnee Monaghan is a grinder. And I even think, with all due respect to Shawnee Monaghan, I think Joe Smith, from a technical standpoint, I think he's a better boxer than Shawnee Monaghan. Shawnee Monaghan's more of a guy who gets inside. He's kind of a clubber, but he's a big, strong kid. I don't want to dismiss him as just being, a crude type slugger. He's still a big, strong kid that, he's durable, he's tough, and he can body you on the inside. He can, make for a tough fight because he's going to keep coming at you. He's going to fight physical inside, and he's going to make you work to keep him off, keep you off him. But Browne is just so fast on it. He's just so slick, so smooth. He's a guy that can just move and get set real quick. Could be a very one-sided fight, in my opinion. It really could be. As much as I don't want it to be, and I hope I'm wrong. Monaghan, probably in the 9th or 10th round. I think he's just too slick, and he's too sneaky, man. He's too sneaky.
And again, like I said, I mean, as impartial as we do, like I said, we try to be impartial on the show and everything like that. But again, man, Shawnee Monaghan is that guy. How can you not root for this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate this matchup. I hate this matchup for Monaghan. It's a bad matchup for him, but we'll see what he's got. Marcus Browne is no joke, so we'll definitely see what he's got. Robbie, who do you like in this fight?
Yeah, well, it's ironic that we're talking about both Shawnee Monaghan and Joe Smith tonight because before these two fights were put together, before Monaghan got the Browne fight and before Smith got the Barrera fight, there was actually talk that Monaghan and Smith were actually going to get together. So
yeah, I didn't like that.
I thought it was going to happen, Robbie. I really thought it was going to happen.
Yeah,
but it didn't. Yeah. I'm surprised it didn't happen. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, but just like I'm picking Joe Smith in the Barrera fight, I cannot pick Monaghan against Browne. Marcus Browne has just looked absolutely fantastic every time I've seen him, and I don't think Monaghan is going to have the tools in his toolbox to deal with Marcus Browne. I think Marcus Browne ends this quite early, as a matter of fact. I think it'll be a quite dominating performance, and I think it's going to be a clean knockout. I think Browne wins this going away.
Why don't you just parlay the two Irish guys? Come on, Robbie. Come to the Grand Slam, Daddy.
Parlay the two Irish guys.
No, because one has a chance of winning. I don't think the other one does. That's why.
I know. I know, Robbie. I'm just trying to make it interesting.
I love how Robbie never takes a bait. He just stays on task. He just,
Can't sway this guy. He doesn't subscribe to peer pressure.
Arthur Spilska versus Adam Kanaki. And I'm sure I'm butchering his name, but I think it's Kanaki. 10 rounds, heavyweights, return bout for Arthur Spilska, trying to get back on track here. Staying on track, I guess. I like Spilska in this one. Not much more to say, to be honest with you. I think it's a setup fight.
I don't even know who the other guy is.
I think it's probably a setup fight for Spilska.
I think this one's a unanimous decision here. Spilska gets him out of there and moves on.
Yeah, and I think Spilska, that's the other point. I think Spilska gets him out of there. I really like Spilska a lot, but yeah, I think he gets him out.
I'm going to admit my ignorance. I don't know who the other guy is.
Jamal James.
None of us do.
Yeah, Jamal James versus JoJo Dan, Beeb's boy, JoJo Dan of Kell Brook fame. 10 rounds welterweights. JoJo Dan has pretty much been reduced to a journeyman, kind of like a stepping stone almost in his career right now. So I think Jamal James will get him. I don't know. That's my pick.
That's correct.
Yeah, there's no other way to go in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I like JoJo Dan, but again, it's it is what it is. So
his best days are behind him, brother.
That's it. It peaked in Kell Brook. That Kell Brook fight, what was it, 3 or 4 rounds? I think it went, or maybe he went 6. Who knows?
That's right. Yeah, 4 rounds.
He got knocked out. Early, though. I know that. All right, on Integrated Sports pay-per-view across the pond.
I'm buying this. I'm gonna buy it.
You don't even have the option to buy it, son.
I can buy Integrated Sports pay-per-view.
We don't.
No.
I think we do, don't we?
No.
I have Comcast. I don't have DirecTV.
No, we don't.
Comcast? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can buy it, man.
Hey,
Just go to Facebook,
if you're
find a
able
stream.
to buy it, let us know.
Yeah, and then let us know what happened.
I thought I bought an Integrated Sports pay-per-view once. I don't know. Maybe I'm dreaming.
Chris Eubank Jr. versus Arthur Abraham, 12-round super middleweights. And the only reason to tune into this fight is going to be to see what Chris Eubank Sr. is wearing. He always wears a tuxedo in the corner. Amazing, always sharp dressed. There it is. I think Chris Eubank is going to wash Arthur Abraham. I think Arthur Abraham is shot. I think he's been shot for quite a while now. I don't care if he held the title or not, son. He's done. Chris Eubank is murking this guy. It's not going the distance. I think Chris Eubank gets him out of there in under 9 rounds. Robert, what say you?
You have to go with the obvious choice here. I was being facetious before the show started, and I hope Abraham, teaches his daddy a lesson for blowing big paydays for him. But realistically, Junior has the youth, and he's going to put Arthur Abraham in retirement, and for Junior, he needs to break away from Dad if he ever wants a major payday. He blew that Triple G fight for him. What can I say? But he wins this fight going away probably. Beeb?
It's hard to see Chris Eubank Jr. losing this fight, but wouldn't it be something if he did? Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine him, because again, after Abraham has that one-punch knockout power, we've seen it. Eubank Jr. decides to play around, try to showboat in this fight. Wouldn't it be something? That one big shot. But you know what? It ain't gonna happen. So I'm gonna go Eubank Jr. I'm gonna go Eubank Jr. by decision.
Yeah, Eubank Jr. And you know what? I mean, say what you will about his father, but say he goes out there and fights Triple G. He's not beating Triple G. He's not beating Triple G. Now he's fighting Arthur Abraham, big name, pay-per-view. This is the second pay-per-view in a row. From here, he goes on to the the boxing tournament. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The World Series boxing tournament, World Super Series, I guess it is. Maybe he didn't do such a bad job. I don't know. On the undercard, Lee Selby versus Jonathan Barros, 12 rounds for Selby's IBF featherweight title. I see Selby winning this fight. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this one, the Selby Barros fight?
Davey Boy Smith, put me on to Selby a long time ago, and I like Selby. I think he's really, really skilled guy, and I think he's mature. He's one of those guys that, one of the younger champions, and one of those guys that you want to see him in there with like another top level guy, a dangerous guy, and they seem like they're moving him slowly. We would like to see him in there with some of the other champions, some of the other big names in the sport. And Barrios I don't think is one of those guys, but he's a tough guy. But I think Selby's a little bit too slick, too quick for him. And I think this could be a one-sided fight, should be a one-sided fight. And that's how I see it. I just think Selby, boxes the pants off Barrios, in my opinion. That's how I see it. Because Selby's great. He's really great at using range. He fights a disciplined fight. Doesn't really take any stupid chances in there. I think he knows who he is as a fighter, and he just fights a real conservative type fight. And if he hurts you, then he goes in for the kill. But he's a boxer first, puncher second, in my opinion. But I think he can still punch a little bit. But I like Selby a lot.
Yeah, I think that. I think Selby dismantles him. Robert, what about you? What do you think about this fight?
You have to go with Lee Selby here. Is this a mandatory or voluntary defense for Selby? Because I'm really surprised that Selby's defending his title against somebody that we haven't really heard of. If this is a voluntary, this looks like a soft touch. But if it's a mandatory, I guess there's nothing you can do. But I would like to start seeing Lee Selby in against bigger names. He's earned that right. I mean, he is a champion.
Victor Barros is a former champion, though, Robbie. He's one of them guys that was fought strictly like in Argentina. I've seen him, on other cards. He's a gritty type guy, but he's just not one of those big name type fighters that a lot of people know about. But I've seen him a few times, and he's a former champion. He's a decent fighter. He's not a bad fighter. Just doesn't have the athleticism. He's just doesn't have the skill set to deal with Lee Selby. But he's a tough guy.
Let me ask you this: if Selby gets past Barros, is Scott Quigg or Carl Frampton next?
I would hope so.
I mean, Robert's talking about big names, and I agree with him. I agree with him 100%.
I mean,
listen, you need to step it up here. I mean, he's right.
Frampton was talked about, before the Santa Cruz rematch. If Frampton got by Santa Cruz, they were talking about fighting Lee Selby next.
Right.
But they could still do it. Why not do it? Because it doesn't seem like Santa Cruz is going to fight Frampton immediately. So I'm hearing that Santa Cruz may fight Mares in a rematch because Mares has been looking so good now lately at featherweight. So we'll see what happens. But I think that's a natural. That's a natural, right? Lee Selby versus Frampton or a Quick.
Lee Selby, I think it's time to step up the game here a little bit.
Yeah, I think you brought up valid points, though. I mean, I think that's definitely a valid point. So yeah, look forward to that. And Carl Frampton is the number one contender on the WBC for Gary Russell, also 2 PBC guys. So yeah, there it is. That's probably the more makeable fight, honestly. But
right,
I think the bigger money fight, of course, is Selby Frampton. But we'll see. We'll see how it works.
Yeah, especially in the UK.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
That's a great fight. Yeah.
So a lot of good boxing coming up this weekend. So there you go. Those are the fights for this weekend.
Yeah.
All right, let's move ahead to news and rumors. Fallout from the Pacquiao fight, the Pacquiao-Horn fight from last week. The WBO, Manny Pacquiao has requested that the WBO review the fight, and he wants to see something done. They filed a protest, all this other good stuff. The WBO will review the fight, but has no interest in reversing the decision. I don't even know why they're entertaining this, honestly. Listen, man, I mean, it was not a robbery. All the Sky Sports announcers had it one way. All of our people had it the other way. Jeff Horn has come out and said that Teddy, I guess was it Teddy Atlas? He's not really too pleased with Teddy Atlas, and he thought Teddy Atlas was very biased during the broadcast. He thought that Teddy Atlas influenced a lot of people during the broadcast, which I think that's a fair point.
And it's so funny too because
Eric, did you see the interview after the fight? Teddy Atlas boldly told him right to his face, "Hey, son, you lost."
No, I don't have a problem with what he said and the way he said it. I mean, he just said that, in my opinion, I didn't think you won the fight. I thought you lost the fight.
But
I thought that's a fair thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
What's so funny is I went back and watched the fight too with the Colonel Bob Sheridan. He was doing a broadcast. He was commentating on the fight too. He was doing some broadcast work for the fight as well. I think Danny Green was also commentating. And they were fair. They were fair in their assessment of the fight. Bob Sheridan said, hey, this is a close fight. This could be a draw. Pacquiao could get the benefit of the doubt in some of these close rounds because he's the name, he's the champion, whatever. And I watched 3 broadcasts of this fight. I watched the Sky Sports one, I watched Bob Sheridan, and I watched ESPN. And what a difference in all 3 broadcasts, because the ESPN one was giving you the impression that you were watching a one-sided slaughter. Right. And it just wasn't the case. And most people thought Pacquiao won the fight. But most people thought Pacquiao won the fight. They still said it was a competitive fight. They still said it was close. And they didn't say it was a massacre. What the WBO's doing is they're losing credibility by doing this, because they said they're not going to overturn the decision. So what are they doing this for? Just to pacify Pacquiao fans who are upset? What's it going to do? It's only going to make it, because these are you sanctioned the fight. These are WBO judges, basically. I mean, you approve them, right? So if you weren't, so you're basically undermining how you the process of you sanctioning this fight and you gathering the officials or what have you, and then you're going to rescore it. So you're basically saying you effed up the first time. So it only hurts the WBO's credibility more so than anyone else's, in my opinion. I don't know what anyone else thinks about that, but
what makes
you sanction the fight. You allow the judges, you allow the referee. So you have to take ownership of that.
Yeah, well, what makes the WBO look even worse is Jeff Horn was the number 2 ranked contender. So why are you questioning your number 2 ranked contender for winning the fight? This makes him look bad. I mean, are you saying that you shouldn't have sanctioned the fight in the first place?
You know what's funny too?
Who the fuck?
Right after
Jeff Horn.
Yeah, right after the Bradley fight, Pacquiao said, "I won the fight." Right after the Mayweather fight, Pacquiao said, "I think I won the fight." Right after this fight, he said, "Oh, I respect what the judges, their opinions and their decision, whatever." Freddie Roach, a very vocal guy, not afraid to speak his mind. He thought the fight was close, and he didn't have any problem with the decision.
Bob Arum didn't have any problems with the decision either.
Yeah, Bob Arum either, but people could say, "Oh, well, me too." Oh, well, Bob Arum worked out a deal with Jeff Horn's promoter, so he co-promotes Jeff Horn. He's looking to break into the Australian market. Okay, whatever. But let me ask you this, and with all due respect to Jeff Horn, if you're going to look to invest in somebody, with all due respect to Jeff Horn, I mean, he could lose. If he fights a guy like Errol Spence, he fights like Keith Thurman, he fights at Danny Gar. If he fights any of the top welterweights, he could lose this belt in his first defense. Is this the type of guy that you really want to invest in? So I understand what people are saying, the motive behind it all, and this and that. But this guy, the way he fights, and you can look at his face in the Pacquiao fight. This isn't the type of guy that you're looking to invest in if you're looking at have longevity with a fighter. Because I just don't think he has the talent to beat the top guys in this division. This division is full of talent. This is a really, really red-hot division. And, he basically caught Manny Pacquiao at the tail end of his career. All the power to him. I'm not going to take anything away from what he did and the heart he showed in that fight. Like I said, I had it a draw. I thought it was a real close competitive fight. But Bob Arum, wanting him to win and wants to get into the Australian market, that's great. But who's this kid going to fight? Like, if he fights anyone in the top 10 or the top 5, I should say, he's going to lose, in my opinion. So I don't think it's, this is the guy that you would want to invest in. He's not an Errol Spence.
If Bob Arum was going to invest in anybody, wouldn't have been Terrence Crawford against Pacquiao.
Yeah, he wanted that.
Terrence Crawford was going to lose.
That's the fight he wanted. That's a passing of the torch type fight. That's the guy that you want to invest in.
Honestly, think he's going to invest in Jeff
He's got the talent. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Think about that for a minute. I mean,
all these conspiracy theorists. I don't see it.
Think about that for a minute here. Do you really think he was going to invest in Jeff Horn? That's the guy. That's my guy going forward.
Yeah. Eric, he may invest in Jeff Horn for the purpose of giving him to Terrence Crawford.
No. You invest in Jeff Horn, Terrence Crawford? What fight makes more money? Pacquiao and Crawford or Jeff Horn and Crawford?
Well, Pacquiao, of course, but
There you
I'm
go.
saying right now the WBO is the weakest title in that division. Anybody can line up and probably get it.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, it's not even about the titles. It's about the guy who, it's not. I mean, the WBO is so irrelevant here. It's not even funny. It's the title doesn't mean anything. We're talking about, you're talking about the money and what, when you're talking about a conspiracy theory like that, where, well, Bob Arum has
Right.
an interest with Jeff Horn. Listen, you're not going to invest in Jeff Horn for the long haul. You're not even going to invest in him for the short haul because you don't know how long he's going to be around. He's a very beatable fighter. So everybody who was saying that, everybody who was saying that, coming up with these crazy theories, they're not thinking them through, I mean, that's to me anyway. That's what it, So after the fight again, and Manny's blaming everybody. After the fight, he claimed a cold. He was hindered by a cold. Then I heard him blame his corner, or what is it? Kantz. I think it was it Michael Kantz? Is it? Yeah, I think it's Michael Kantz.
Yeah.
Pacquiao's handler came out and blamed his corner. Then Pacquiao came out and blamed the ref and said he thinks that the ref was, he was on Jeff Horn's side. It's like he wanted him to win. He said, come on. Basically saying the referee was favoring Jeff Horn.
Stop that fight. Remember that, man.
Right. Exactly. And he said, I'm here to protect you. And he's right. That's his job. There are also some fingers pointed at the corner. What did you, and Bob Arum even came out against the corner saying that they could have done more. They should have done more, this and that. They should have been yelling at the ref because they didn't like the job. I thought the ref did a fine job. I don't think there was anything wrong with the ref did. Listen,
he did a good job.
Is this just a case of sour grapes, or is this just a case of, or do they have legitimate points here?
I think it's sour grapes.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's you can say what you want about Bob Arum, but Bob Arum has been in this game a long time, and he's done some questionable things. A lot of these promoters have done questionable things, but at the end of the day, he knows what he's doing. He's not an idiot. And the smart thing about him as he's gotten older, what's allowed him to have longevity in the sport, is he always surrounded himself with people who were smarter than him. He knows nothing about social media. He knows nothing about Twitter. He knows nothing about the changing times. But he was able to persevere in the sport because he had someone like Todd DeBuff around him. That's the guy that helped him out. You know what I'm saying? So he knows what he's doing. He's not going to, at this stage of his career, he doesn't make too many mistakes. So what can he do with this Jeff Horn kid? I mean, I'm not trying to denigrate the guy, but there's only so much you could do with this guy. Whereas you had some good fights on the table for Pacquiao. Was this if you were going to cash Pacquiao out, it's not going to be against Jeff Horn. You're going to cash him out. You're going to cash him out against Crawford, and you're going to cash him out. You could possibly get a Floyd Mayweather rematch. And as crazy as that may sound, you still may be able to get that. If Pacquiao fights Horn in a rematch and wins, they could sell that fight. Pacquiao, not the same, but neither is Mayweather. Let's see what happens now. Let's see if this fight's more competitive. Let's see how Pacquiao does without the sore shoulder. So there was still 2 or 3. Mikey Garcia was an option too. So there was still 2 or 3 big fights on the table for Pacquiao. So in my opinion, this wasn't a cash-out move against Horn because no one saw this coming.
Nope.
No one saw this coming. I don't think Arum saw it coming either. And Arum, obviously, he has every right to say, oh, well, they underestimated this kid. I kept telling them this kid was someone they needed to train for. He was a big, tough, strong kid. Don't take this kid lightly. And, you had them basically really looking at Jeff Horn like he was nothing. And I think they did underestimate him. And even with all that being said, I still scored the fight a draw. I think Jeff Horn fought the fight of his life. I don't think Pacquiao did. As past as Pacquiao is, I honestly still think he can do better than what he showed, and that's just my opinion. And if they rematch, I would pick Pacquiao again. But I think that this would be a more motivated Manny Pacquiao, and this would be a Manny Pacquiao who understands what he's getting himself into the second time, and he's going to fight a different fight. And he's not going to underestimate this kid like he did the first time around, and I really think he did. I can't prove that, but I just think he did.
Well,
so he wins this fight. The Crawford fight's still there. The Mayweather rematch is still there. Yep. And if Mikey Garcia can beat Broner, that fight's still there. Or even a Broner fight is still there. So this was not a cash out fight, in my opinion. I just don't see why people would think that.
Yeah, that's a great point for any conspiracy theory out there. You know, look, this is not a cash out fight. And the bottom line is, look, I mean, now that he's lost the horn, all those fights are off the table. Every single one of them. You're not going to put him in there against Terrence Crawford because he's going to get demolished. You know, I mean, before there was some kind of there wasn't like an invincibility, but everybody considered him, with the exception of me, of course, a top welterweight. Everybody considered him a top welterweight, you know, but he's not. And this fight showed that. Now everything's off the table. Yeah. So Arum lost a ton of money on this fight. He really
remember when we had people in the chat, we were talking about Manny Pacquiao, and this before this fight even happened, and we were both saying, we just couldn't see him beating Errol Spence. We couldn't see him beating Keith Thurman. We couldn't see him beating Kell Brook or whatever. We couldn't see him beating maybe Danny Garcia. I don't think he beat Danny Garcia. We couldn't see him beating Sean Porter. We just couldn't see him winning those fights right now at this stage of his career. And everyone's like, oh, what are you talking about? He's still this, he's still that. Listen, this isn't us being haters. This is just us seeing the writing on the wall. He's almost 40 years old. And, you know, a lot of people are sitting there hammering home how dirty of a fighter Jeff Horn is, how he did this, how he did that. Listen, guys, there was no way Jeff Horn was going to out-finesse Manny Pacquiao. He wasn't going to outbox him. He had to fight this way. Go back and YouTube Chuck Wepner versus Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Chuck Wepner, you think he's going to try and box Muhammad Ali? Man. I mean, this was the only way he could have won this fight, whether you love it or hate it. You know, he doesn't have a pretty aesthetically pleasing style, and you can say what you want, but he's not going to outbox Manny Pacquiao. He's not going to outskill Manny Pacquiao. He's not going to out-finesse Manny Pacquiao. This was the only way he could have made this fight winnable for himself, by fighting as physical as he did. Yeah. And that's just the way it is.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, and after the fight, Freddie Roach said that Pacquiao should retire. Freddie Roach went on record after the fight saying that he thinks Pacquiao should retire. He said it was okay for him to rematch Horn if that's what he wants to do, but fighting Mayweather, Crawford, etc., those days are basically done. And for all you guys that laughed at me when I told you Pacquiao could not beat Broner, yeah, I'm just saying. Let's go to the phones right now. 970-970, you're live.
Well, that's Mr. Handwrap. He's going to defend Pacquiao, aren't you, Handwrap?
Oh my God, we have the president of the Manny Pacquiao fan club coming on right after that spiel.
Listen, guys, I ain't taking down the poster yet, man. Still hanging, all right.
Handwraps. Let me ask you something. Handwraps, let me ask you something before you go forward. I want you to admit on this show, Adrien Broner would wipe the floor with Manny Pacquiao.
Ah, crap. I'll admit it. Adrien Broner will wipe the floor with Manny Pacquiao. God damn it. You guys win. All right, you guys are on a row here. You guys called the Danny Jacobs. Props. You guys called the Manny Pacquiao. I was the guy who called all fucking pissed because you guys were calling him old.
No, there was other people. We were getting slaughtered on Twitter too. We were getting slaughtered on Twitter. Not just you.
Hang on. Now,
Beeb, you win, Beeb. You win, Beeb. All right, man.
Hang on. You didn't. Hang on. You didn't call in last Sunday. What was your honest opinion of what you saw?
Yeah. What did you? Yeah. What did you? How did you score it, Handwraps? We all had it scored for Pacquiao here.
I had it a draw.
Yeah.
I also had it scored for Pacquiao by 2 rounds, but I'm not going to be one of these fucking people like Stephen A. Smith screaming fucking robbery.
Oh, he doesn't belong on TV like, oh my God.
When it's a close fight, it's a close fight, man. When I'm looking at a round and I'm fucking giving it to Pacquiao because I'm biased, then I realized that there are those Pacquiao haters out there who are not going to give it to Pacquiao. So I'm completely cool with that. It was way too close of a fight to call a robbery. But then scorecards make you start questioning now, don't they? That's the only reason you can really those people got ammunition when they say that Bob Arum was setting them up to lose.
They do,
Pacquiao's
you know,
contract quitting and you got the new cash cow. Listen, I don't believe that theory.
I don't either, but they got ammo for it.
I think that's bullshit because they got ammo, man. Because look at them fucking scorecards. is ridiculous.
117 to 110,
I'm
way
with you guys.
way
I
too
think
far.
if he was going to cash him out, Crawford was the cash out, not Jeff Horn, so they can feel that note.
Right.
Let me just say this, hand wraps. Let me just say this, hand wraps, real quick. Because I had it a draw. Teddy Atlas in rounds scored at 7-5 for Pacquiao. This is my question, and this is a legitimate question. Were there at least 2 swing rounds in that fight? At least, because I thought there was more than 2 swing rounds in that fight. I thought there was maybe 3 or 4.
There was.
So my question is this: so if you, I have a lot, probably 80% of the people did score this fight for Pacquiao, but there were a lot of people that scored at 7-5, right? And if you looked at everyone's scorecard, not everyone had identical rounds that they scored for Pacquiao. So that's another point you have to look at. So my question is, if you score this fight a draw like me, or you score this fight 7-5 like Atlas, you flip 2 swing rounds. It's not impossible to give this fight 115, 113 to Jeff Horn. The 115, 113s were not impossible. They were a stretch, possibly, but they weren't impossible. Obviously, the 117, 111 was. So Teddy Atlas calling this fight a robbery, and he scored at 7-5 in rounds. It was ridiculous. I couldn't.
Did you score the
couldn't believe
10-8 round? Did you score the 10-8 round, hand wraps? The 9th round?
I did not, because I've boxed before, and I don't believe in dominating round deserves a 10-8. I do believe a round where a man is severely hurt and he looks like he's gonna fall, and he's stumbling all over the ring and he did everything but fall. Then yeah, I guess you can score that at 10-8. But I mean, just dominating the round, we're going 12 rounds here, buddy, not just one. So dominating the round does not grant you a 10-8 in my book.
Yeah, I would go along with that.
But hey guys, I got a funny story. To share before I head out. I just wanted to call and say you guys are on point, man. I bow to the boxing knowledge gods that you guys are. I did not see that coming, man. God damn it. I had hopes Pacquiao could beat Crawford, man, and eventually fucking come see Thurman and fucking Spence. I can't believe it, man. You guys are right, though. When you're washed, you're washed, and he's kind of washed. But hey, listen, this is a funny story before I move on. Guys, so I ran into Adrien Broner at my hotel.
Where
I
at?
gotta tell you, I hate this guy.
Where'd you run into him at?
Absolutely cannot stand Adrien Broner. I ran
Where was he?
in Colorado Springs.
That's where he's training at. Yeah.
I took my kid to the zoo out there, and I said, I should cruise by the Olympic Training Center and see what's going on. And I didn't, but I ran into him in my hotel lobby. So that was kind of funny. But the funny story here goes is I hate Adrien Broner, right?
Oh.
When I was a kid, my dad hated Oscar De La Hoya. Like every time Oscar De La Hoya boxed, he just trashed the guy nonstop, throwing beer cans at the fucking TV, all that shit, right? So De La Hoya at a taqueria. We ran into Oscar De La Hoya at the taqueria in East LA. There was a massive crowd around him. My mom's like, "Let's go say hi to Oscar. Let's go say hi to Oscar." And I see my dad's face, and I know my dad hates the guy. So I'm like, "Oh, come on! I wonder what my dad's gonna say." He walks right up to the guy, shakes his hand, and says, "Oscar, you're the greatest champion in the world, man. I'm such a big fan. Go champ." So I was let down as a kid. I thought my dad was gonna tell this guy off. I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck?" I never let my dad live that one off. To this day, I'll bring up Oscar De La Hoya and we'll just laugh, right? So guess what happened to his son? I run into Adrien Broner. What do I do? Just like my father. "Hello, champ. How you doing? I'm a big fan. Go get Mikey." Knowing damn right that I want Mikey to whoop his ass. What am I gonna tell Adrien Broner, man? That shit was funny. I just thought it's funny how life works, right? So I called my dad and I told him, and now he's got a little ammunition to fire back. So it's pretty
Really think
that is cool, man.
But really think about it, right? When you walk up to somebody.
That's like when Eric interviewed Adrien Broner. I said, "Well, Eric, did you tell him that he's the train wreck of the week champion. He's won it multiple times. He said, no way, I didn't tell him that. I'm like, yeah.
You fall in the same category there, and that's
it. The thing you didn't know about your father,
man,
we all do
gotta
the
play
same
groupie
thing.
sometimes. That's all right.
Yeah, like how do you walk up to somebody and just say, "Hey, man, hope you get your ass kicked. You suck." Like,
yeah,
like,
really.
Why would you'd have to be really you would have to really be mad at the guy. He would have to do something to you personally, to Adrien Broner too. So he's not the biggest guy in the world. I mean, I'm a lot bigger than him, but still, I'm almost 50 years old. I don't think I can hang with him, man. So you know what I'm saying? Something. What are you gonna do?
Hey,
You
man,
gonna
he's
fight
a
him?
lot smaller than me, man. He was a lot smarter than I thought, man. But you know what? You know what I will say? He was out there running, man. I looked out my hotel window, and we're talking. This is a Sunday, man. Olympic Training Center is closed. It's like late in the evening. I saw him out there in the morning. I saw him out there in the afternoon. I saw him out there in the evening. This boy looks serious, man.
I'm hearing.
Think he ain't gonna win shit though.
I'm hearing from the people in the know, man, that he's training hard and that he's gonna win this fight. Yeah, they say he's in shape. They say he's in real good shape. So yeah.
So,
hey guys, I want to thank you for your time. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Contract is up with Arum. Does he still work with Arum? Does he re-sign a small contract? How does it work out? What's it going to happen moving forward with Pacquiao and Arum? What do you think? I don't know.
You know, my gut tells me that Manny Pacquiao is a loyal person, and I think he will sign a smaller extension on a few fights with Bob Arum. Definitely that rematch because he needs that money. But I really wish he would go somewhere else, man. And that's just the truth. I really wish that he would just take a pay cut, because I know he wants that 10 million and 20 million, but he would take just a smaller pay cut and come down and fight somebody like a Danny Garcia. You know, come over here to the other side of the bridge, fight some PBC guys. That would be sweet, man. But that's all fantasy talk, you know.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice if you did.
That's my only opinion on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys. Well, thanks again for the great show. Appreciate you guys. Have a good night, man.
All right, man. Thank you, sir.
Take care.
I think that's funny, man. Everybody does that, though. Everybody does it. Oh, I hate that guy. Can't stand that guy. And then you see him live. Oh, no way. You know, because he's a celebrity. You can't believe you're seeing him, you know? So, yeah, everybody does that, man. Area code 508. 508, you're live.
Hey, what's happening, people? What's going on?
What's happening?
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Georgie.
Going on in this boxing world, we got all these little fights coming on with that Berchelt Flanagan. That really means anything on boxing. Let's start with that.
Start it up.
Is that signed? I didn't know that was signed. Flanagan against Berchelt? Okay. Interesting.
I thought that was coming down the pipe. I'm not 100% sure.
That's an interesting fight. Yeah, I don't think it's 100% signed, but that's an interesting fight. That's a very interesting fight.
That would be a little step up, but it really doesn't mean much. I would like to see Berchelt. I think Berchelt is like Rosado. Like I do look good, look like he got the technique, but for some reason he mispunches it.
Oh, signed.
September
16th. Yeah, it's signed.
For September 16th?
September 16th.
Wow.
Yeah, it's done. It's a done deal, Georgie. Wow.
That's a good fight.
Yeah, I wonder, is that going to be on the undercard of Canelo and Triple G?
Let's see.
That Triple G Canelo, like, there's no bust to it, though. That kind of damn the rival. I don't know.
Oh, don't worry. There's going to be buzz.
It's in London. It's going to be in London.
Wow.
It's in London, Robbie.
Oh, okay. All right.
Fights all day that day.
Wow. Wow.
Triple G Canelo is going to suffer because of the situation with Mayweather and McGregor, though. It's just being overshadowed a little bit because, like, if you really think about it, most of the boxing, the laws of boxing in the U.S. is Mexican fans. It's all California and Texas and all that. I mean, the East Coast show up here and there where Puerto Ricans fighting, but He's most Mexican. Now that Triple G fighting a real Mexican, I mean, who's going to be rooting for Triple G? Only the smart people, I guess.
Yeah, well, you're going to be picking Triple G, right, Georgie?
Yeah, definitely. I think Canelo's like a garage. How could you be like doing? How could you be on that level fighting at 155? You know, I mean, you just fall out of the tree, man. It's just like it's just not even real. But this is the type of shit we got to do in boxing. I want to know what's going on with Ward. He's going to retirement. What's up with him?
We hear that Ward's trying to fight Tony Bellew.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Eric?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. He's trying to fight my guy, Tony Bellew. So.
And Doc Superman.
No, he's going to move up to heavyweight.
Yeah, he's not fighting. He's not fighting Adonis.
I mean, come on, hold on.
Well, does Adonis Stevenson really want to fight him? No, man. Like, he's been saying he wants to fight a lot of guys, but
Adonis Stevenson doesn't want to fight anybody dangerous.
No action. He's all talking, no action.
This is what we always come down like as a hardcore fans. That's what we want to see. Who the hell is the best in the division? So Superman be kicking ass for who knows. Allegedly, he got the linear championship, right? So he already took out the beast from fucking Kovalev shit. So I mean, now we can really find out who's unified. How many people have unified that belt? Like heavyweight.
Wow, it's been a while, right?
Georgie, we're gonna have a unification belt fight in August with Terrence Crawford and Ndongo, and that'll be the first time in I don't know how long that 4 belts will be up for grabs in one fight, and you can't say that.
Wall can do the same, fighting a legitimate champion with Stevenson.
But Stevenson doesn't want it, Georgie. That's the problem. He doesn't want it.
And good luck getting that fight signed. I mean, because he'll talk his way out of that fight. He doesn't want. I don't think he wants that fight. Because I mean, if he wanted it and he was claiming for it, they would make that happen. I have no doubts that.
Man, but that should be the fight that really means anything, bro. Like me seeing Wall going to heavyweight and fight Belby. What the fuck is that?
Right. Yeah. I mean. He's going to fight Bellew, and I don't understand. I really don't get the Bellew fight. I really don't get it. I don't, you know, I mean, I like Bellew, so I like the fight, but it's not really, it's not a money fight for him. It's not, you know, I have a hard time with that fight. B, what about you? What do you think about that fight? Or maybe not. Yeah, for me though, I mean, it's not really that big of a fight though. So yeah.
Did we lose Beeb?
No, I think it's Cameron's.
Beeb taking a nappy.
He might be napping. Yeah.
But
might be napping. I don't know.
The lightweight unification, like heavyweight unification, how many people have done it?
Not very many. What is it? Spinks did it? Didn't Spinks do it?
Yeah, it happens very often, hasn't it, Eric?
No, I don't believe it has. Did Holyfield? I'm not sure if Holyfield did it or not either.
Well, he won the title 4 times, but I don't know if he ever held all 4 belts at the same time.
Yeah.
Because they even given the Ringside magazine and everything. That will be huge. How could these people don't want that? You see, like they don't just say they don't want to fight, but how could you not want that? It have to be some type of way that we fans can push for that. Instead of settling for anything else, man.
The problem is, Georgie, you're dealing with a guy that doesn't want to. He only wants to fight when he wants to fight, and if somebody looks dangerous, he doesn't want any part of it. And that's the honest way you have to look at a guy like Adonis Stevenson now. You know,
Stevenson was he called out Sergey Kovalev. I think he knew in the back of him that fight wasn't going to happen. You know, they knew that fight couldn't take place. So I mean, it's easy to call. He calls everybody out. He's been calling Ward out for the longest time, and he's been calling Kovalev out for the longest time. And the bottom line is, he doesn't want to fight him. You know, he had Joe Smith. He had a good fight prior to the Fonfro fight, and for whatever reason, talks fell apart on all these guys. And I don't know what his deal is. I really don't.
And well, it looks like to me he's being a protected champion, Eric. That's kind of what it
100%.
looks like.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's definitely.
No, not on boxing. Listen, guys. So what's going on with Pacquiao though? Are he gonna do the rematch? Yo, Bob Arum got to be a reptilian alien, man. This man, I mean, the things that this man cook is just unbelievable. The same way that he did the Bradley trilogy, I think we're gonna see this whole trilogy coming, bro.
Yeah, I tell you,
it's just
he, you know,
you gotta laugh about it.
Where do you go with that? I mean, I would like to see Pacquiao hang it up after that because he just, I don't know. I mean, what was the point of that? I mean, what's the point of coming back and fighting this guy? You were supposed to beat him last time, so what's the point of it? You know, there's really no point to it.
About 14 million people watching.
But my question, Eric, is Eric, when they negotiated this contract for this fight, why did they even think about putting a rematch clause in it? Because I mean, you were supposed to go in there and you were supposed to win. I mean, and it automatically showed that they were protecting themselves because right after the fight, well, we're going to activate the rematch clause. Really? I didn't even know that was smart until after the fight.
It's a smart thing to do, though. It's a smart thing to do. You're a world champion. You might as well just throw a rematch clause in there. It doesn't really matter.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal, Georgie.
Well, nice talking to you guys. I don't have much to say, but everybody out there support, give you the thumbs up, and thank you for giving us the show.
All right, man.
See
we
you,
appreciate
Georgie.
it. Thank you, sir. There you go, Georgie. 937. You're live.
Hey, what's up? This is Wood.
Hey, Wood. What's happening?
What up, brother?
Not much, man. I'm out here working the grill, actually.
Nice.
And listening to you guys on a couple of different devices.
He tips us up, but he knows what the grill's all about.
Very good, man. Very good.
And I was just wondering what you guys, what were you guys' thoughts on that August 4th card? I don't know if I'm a couple of shows ahead for you guys, but the Showbox card that's getting put together for, and I know it's Robbie's favorite thing with the women boxing, but the Claressa Shields card is being put together up there. And then also it looks like, I know you guys, I thought you guys had Sonny Fredrickson on, but he'll be fighting this Bakhteri Eubov kid from that fights out of Detroit, I believe.
Yeah, let me see here. What?
My thing with the women is they got to fight 3-minute rounds.
Oh,
That's one of my big things.
What's the matter with you? You're such a sexist.
I mean, these women, great job, man.
Oh yeah, like what was her name? Amanda Nunez last night. She didn't even fight, huh?
Whoa! You don't know the backstory behind that. Don't.
She had a sinus infection. You ever have a sinus infection? It's harsh.
Beeb has asthma. He knows what it's all about. He kicked the inhalers years ago, but he still has his days with these allergies. I'll tell you that.
Hello, yeah.
Yeah.
To have to be congested and not an ounce of Sudafed around to be found.
Wait a minute, he's fighting. You're saying Fredrickson is fighting Tsar Amanasat?
No, it's Bakhteri Eubov or Eubov or something.
Okay, no, I was like, what? Yeah, I mean, the guy doesn't look like he's ranked anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about him. I mean, clearly it's going to be it should be a showcase for Fredrickson anyway.
Yeah, but it's an interesting fight. I've seen the guy fight 2 times now. I think he got a split decision, I believe, over Kareem Mayfield a couple of fights ago. But he's a big-time slugger, pretty decent power, and I just think it's a very risky fight for Fredrickson from that regard. It is going to be a height advantage in Fredrickson's favor. But I just think the region, us being in the Midwest, it's a pretty good card. And I believe that'll be a pretty exciting fight. Actually, the Pacquiao guy actually fought on Shields' last card, but I don't know if it was on the televised portion.
Well, let me ask you.
Showbox.
Let me ask you this. All right, so Claressa Shields is fighting Nikki Adler in Detroit on August 4th. It's going to be for the vacant WBC and IBF super middleweight title. All right, and I remember you telling me. I remember we talked about it. And how big is that room she's fighting in? Wood, I think if you can hear me, you're cutting out, buddy.
We lost you, Wood. Get close to the phone, man.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's a very small room. Maybe, 500 people is probably pushing it.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think? Do you think they're handling the career the right way? Because Katie Taylor is going to make her U.S. debut on the other card of Broner and Garcia at the Barclays. And you know that's going to be a packed house. And Claressa Shields is going to maybe win a couple of titles in front of 500 people.
That's interesting because Jarrell Miller has been added to that Barclays card, and I believe he has some part of a partial deal or something with Leader Promotion.
You got to get closer to the phone, man. You can't move away from the phone.
We're losing you, Wood.
Yeah, I'm just outside, so my reception just might be bad, but
that's all right.
Yeah, I just think I was mentioning that I think Jarrell Miller is also signed to Salida Promotions, who Claressa Shields is signed to. So it's interesting that they didn't get that fight there. But I think it's just trying to make things great for Shields and, going up for this world title in her hometown. And that's the best venue. That might be the best venue that they can put together, in Detroit for boxing.
I think so too. Yeah. You definitely want to have it there. You definitely want to have it in Detroit. I just wish she would have been on some bigger undercards leading into this. You know what I mean? I think maybe they're trying to main event her too soon.
Agreed.
I don't know. But yeah, you definitely, for her to win the title in Detroit, that's something special. That's where's she from? She's from Grand Rapids or Flint? I think she's from Flint, isn't she?
Flint.
Yeah.
Flint. She's from Flint.
Yeah, so that's close enough to Detroit. Detroit's the main hub right there. So yeah, it should be good, man. Should be good. I wish they, like I said, Katie Taylor right now to me is probably the most popular woman in boxing. And then you got Claressa Shields, which is probably the best woman, one of the better women in boxing, and she's not, just not getting that household name yet. You know what I mean? So
this will be only her fourth fight, though. And Adler, the public is not that familiar with her, so I don't know. It's an interesting play. From what I understand, MGM Grand Detroit, for its VIPs and whatnot, have maybe, I would say, they have a large number of seats already taken up for their VIPs. So, tickets are going to be probably scarce. Wow. But I think television-wise, I think it's a great event.
I think so too. I think it'll be a good card. Like I said, it'll be a good card. Yeah, I just wish it was bigger. I wish it was bigger for, I wish she had a bigger following. I think is what I'm trying to say, rather than just 500 seats, man. It's like, I'll just say one more thing to Robbie, and I get off here because I know I'm on my cell phone and the reception might not be that great. It's all good.
But I actually got a clip. On my YouTube channel speaking with Shields. She's not a proponent of 3-minute rounds for the women. I asked her the question directly, and she said she has no concern. She has no argument for 3-minute rounds. She's comfortable with 2 minutes. So I thought that was interesting coming from her, but that's where she stands on it.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Katie Taylor came out and said she wants 3-minute rounds.
That's because Robbie's been bullying her.
Wow.
Not that I agree with her.
Robbie's been bullying these women.
I just thought I'd get that question into her just to try to get her stance on it.
Yeah.
The way I look at this, if Katie Taylor, the most popular woman currently in boxing, wants 3-minute rounds, other women should follow suit. I mean, you know, I believe if you're going to be in this sport, you should fight under the same rules as the men do.
Wow, you're such a.
Hey,
I have to.
My jaw dropped when she said what she said. I was very shocked at the answer that she gave, and she spoke for it. She spoke about it for a couple of minutes, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing, actually. But, you know, I just wanted to get that out there that that is her position on it, that she has no argument, you know, in that regard.
Wow.
Okay.
Wood, before you get out of here, tell everybody where we can find you.
Wow.
Hey, really, I'm trying to push a lot more content to the YouTube channel, and, you know, thirsty guy, I guess, looking for subscriptions and whatnot. But I do have a lot of, actually, I just put a piece up with Abel Sanchez, who had a couple of thoughts on Triple G, his preparations ahead of the mega fight, you know, in September. So mainly just check me out at the YouTube channel, pay me no mind. You know, I will be getting back to my podcast and everything, but mainly just check me out on the YouTube channel.
There it is.
Oh, wow.
There it is, boy. Wood getting the big guns, Cross the Shields, Abel Sanchez, all of them, man. Catch them on Wood's channel.
I'm trying to emulate Beeb out here. It's Beeb's world.
It's Beeb's world. Everybody else is trying to get ahead. Beeb's there, man.
All right.
Exactly.
All right, Wood, man.
Take care, guys.
We'll talk to you soon, man. Thank you, sir.
All right, be good, man.
Wood. Very cool. Very cool. All right, Beeb. It's that time.
Chugga. Shoot!
It is the train wreck of the week, Daddy. Floyd Mayweather owes back taxes. Everyone in the boxing world has been asking, why on earth would Floyd Mayweather fight Conor McGregor? A guy with no boxing experience, no professional boxing experience. Well, the answer to these types of questions is pretty simple. Money. In this case, the money that is owed to the IRS. That's right. Floyd Mayweather has apparently not paid taxes since 2015. Beeb, if you hadn't paid taxes since 2015, what do you think is happening? Think you're going to jail? You're going to jail.
I'm going to be honest with you, because that worked at the IRS. If you don't make over $200,000 a year, you can get away with it for a long time. But
right.
Look at the article about Floyd Mayweather. Normally, it takes them a while to catch up on things and get the paper, you know, get the documents and everything, and get all the stuff from the computers to be able to find these things out. But because he makes so much, they expedited all that and they jumped right on it.
Oh.
So when you're dealing with that amount of money, yeah, I mean, they'll be knocking on your door. And you know, back in 2006, you owed $6 million allegedly. I think factually, if I can't really question that, because a lot of people put reports out on that. I think even the Nevada Commission kind of supported that as well. A lot of these guys, and I think back then, they hold on to the money until the IRS comes knocking on their door, because you could take that money and you can invest it, you could do other things with it, and then you could make that money work for you in the process. And then when they do come knocking on your door, then you have it. Well, in this case, they came knocking on his door, and in terms of liquidity, he didn't have it. I know he's got some annuity. I know he's got, from what he says, he's got an annuity. He's got a lot of things locked up. And if you try to take money out of those things, then you got to pay penalties on them.
Right.
These financial instruments that he has. And not only that, it would probably wipe out all his liquidity if he was to do pay all up front. Because these guys are paying 40%. They're in a bracket where they're paying 40%. You know, people making the amount of money that he's making. So if he made upwards of $250, $260 million the year of 2000, he's going to owe about $110, $115 million in taxes. And as rich as he is, and his you know, what he's worth or whatever, multi-million dollars, he has that cash lying around, and if he does have it lying around, it'll wipe him out. So he's going to fight Conor McGregor. Probably going to get maybe $200 million for this fight, $150 million for this fight. Full swoop, and he's good to go, and he's starting over again. But the thing is this, you would have thought that someone like Floyd Mayweather, dealing with the amount of money he's dealing with, would have had people around him to take him. Brought that up earlier when we were talking about this, so he wouldn't be put in this situation. And Bernard Hopkins, Breakfast Club, and he was being interviewed. They were talking about Floyd Mayweather being a great businessman. And, well, I mean, he's very wealthy or whatever, but he's not the one making the deals. He got people around him making the deals. And apparently, you know what? He put himself in this situation himself, and apparently he didn't have people around him in this situation to help him out. So you have to question what's going to happen to Floyd Mayweather moving forward because of the lifestyle, because of the amount of cars he buys. Who am I to count another man's pocket? Who am I to tell another man what to do? But the thing is this, as you get older and the money flow stops, this is a guy who doesn't have any endorsements, doesn't have any other way to make money besides boxing. And I don't know how well the promotional company's doing. But, you have a promotional company, you got to pay a lot of employees, you got to pay a lot of fighters. So unless you're putting on multi-million-dollar events every year, which I don't think he's doing right now, then, you're going to have to find another revenue stream. So he's going to have to do one of two things. He's going to have to some superstars in his promotional company to help him out and get the millions of dollars, or that he's used to making, multi-million-dollar fighters. He's going to have some stars in his table. Spending, I think curbing your spending and changing your lifestyle up a little bit would be the way to go. We'll see what happens. I hate to see this be another situation where another fighter ends up being broke, like a la Mike Tyson, who's not broke now. Dug himself out of the hole. He's worth probably like $1 million or $2 million right now, which is nothing to sneeze at. But it's sure as hell not worth the hundreds of millions of dollars that he made in his career. All that's gone.
Exactly.
And I hate to see another story like Floyd Mayweather doing the same thing that happened to Mike Tyson and many others before him. So.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
It's pretty significant because, like I said, I mean, he's actually suing the IRS for installments, or asking the IRS to give him installments or whatever so he can pay it back. But yeah, I mean, that's quite a chunk, man. I mean, he makes a lot of money, but again, I don't understand, and we talked about it too. I don't understand why he doesn't get like a bank, like a Chase Bank or something like that. They provide this service for people where they will help you with your tie, and they're legit service. So if somebody over there goes south and he decides to take money and leave, you're not out any money. It's a bank. It's a legitimate bank. They do this for a living, I don't really get it, man. I don't understand how this type of stuff happens, especially when you're making the kind of money you're making. You think that, you go to the right sources, not your cousin's brother, so I don't know, man.
And why would you be bragging, putting everything out there that you do in terms of your gambling habits and this and that? Because if you're basically throwing it in the IRS's face, saying, okay, well, you can't pay your taxes, but you can gamble with this money.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they see all the, they see the jet, they see the 50 cars right there, and they're like, well, wait a minute here. They said that, you can turn some of the stuff in. We can hold an auction. You could turn some of the stuff in, and we can, we can make this happen. And he says, no, he wants to wait till the McGregor fight, and then he can pay off a significant amount. And Wood in the chat just brought up a really interesting point too. He said, does this get him out for match number 51? I mean, he's going to fight Conor McGregor for 50. Does he have to come back out of retirement for another one?
Well, I highly speculated that was the case, that they were going to try to put that Pacquiao rematch together.
Yeah.
I think he will fight another fighter after Conor McGregor. I really believe that, in my opinion. I just see it happening.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. That's for sure. Speaking of Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, the press tour gets together and starts next week, and I got to be honest, man. I can't wait for the press tour, and I can't wait to see this fight. I said it out loud. I can't wait, man. The press conference for this thing should be pretty amazing. It'll be in L.A., Toronto, Brooklyn, and London. The presser kicks off in L.A. on Tuesday. I got to be honest, man, all these people out here who are talking about this is going to ruin boxing and it's horrible for the sport, man, you guys need to relax. You know, I mean, go hang out with your girlfriend or something, go drink some tequila. I don't care what you do, all right? You guys need to relax. These are the same people saying that Pacquiao Horn decision is going to ruin boxing. We're still talking about Pacquiao Horn a week later. Why is that? That's not bad. When people talk about it, it's not bad. The entire planet is talking about this fight. Some hate it, some love it, but everyone is talking about it. It's not a bad thing, man. It really isn't. And for sure, this IRS thing is being brought up at that press conference by McGregor. 100%.
I was just going to ask you that. Is that going to be brought up?
100%. Sure, that's being brought up.
You know, I'm excited for these press conferences. I want to see if Conor McGregor goes in on him.
Oh, McGregor,
I want to see
into this guy like you've never seen. I mean, yeah, McGregor.
Oh, yeah.
It will be amazing to watch.
And he doesn't know enough about Conor McGregor to really go in on him. What can he say? Oh, he was choked out. He was this. He was that. Whatever. Nate Diaz.
Yes,
that's probably all he. After that, what else does he have on this guy? So it's going to be fun.
It is because, I mean, I don't know if you've ever saw the McGregor press conferences. He goes in, man. He's not playing around. I mean, he really goes in on it.
Do you remember that press conference when Ruben Guerrero, they called him a woman beater?
I was just thinking about that when I saw Guerrero's fighting. Yeah, I did.
And he just sat there. He just sat there. Like the whole room went quiet. Like, because what could you say? Like, what could you say? Like, he silenced the whole room. And that was like, you know, it's so funny because a lot of people, you can go in on Floyd for a lot of things, man. Like a lot, but no one really tries to talk trash to him, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He does because they figure they're out kind of outgunned because that's what he did for the longest time. You know, talk trash with.
They're intimidated by just him, his presence in the sport or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I'll tell you one person who's not going to be intimidated by him, and that's Conor McGregor.
McGregor, I cannot. These things are going to be insane. They're going to be insane. If you didn't see, go Google McGregor versus Aldo press conference.
Oh yeah,
and all the press conferences he did with Jose Aldo.
Yeah, those were brutal. Those were brutal.
God, they were completely brutal. I mean, yeah. I can't wait. I read too. There was 30,000. They're giving away 30,000 tickets to fans for the press conference, I believe in Toronto or LA. It's one of those, but they're giving away 30,000 tickets.
I heard they're charging though for some of them too, though.
Are they really?
That's what I heard. I could be wrong, but I think I heard that they're charging for some of these.
This fight is huge. I mean, this fight is really huge. Everybody is just naysaying the fight and saying it's not going to be, you know, and this is bad for the sport, blah blah blah. Dude, this is not bad for the sport at all. What's wrong? Sometimes it's just fun to have a fun event, you know, and I think that's what we got to start relaxing.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
Because I was listening to a guy that I follow here on YouTube, 78 Sports TV, and he made a video about this whole thing. And it's funny because you got a guy like Donald Trump, and trying to get him to release his tax forms, and no one really can get a hold of his tax forms. How does it become so easy for the press or the media about Floyd Mayweather's taxes, where we can't even get the taxes of the President of the United States? Because this is something 78 brought up in his video. And you know, it makes a lot of sense. Because it's so easy. Because again, I'm not defending the guy. I'm not his lawyer or whatever. But isn't this invasion of privacy? How do people obtain this personal information?
They're public record. Yeah, it's public record. And I don't know. But that's a great point. I don't understand like how they can't get like Trump's tax returns, but like they can get the information. But you know, in all fairness, they didn't really get Floyd's tax returns. They didn't get Floyd's tax returns, didn't he? He's filed like a lawsuit, and that's how they got the information on this. So nobody really tax return is.
So something was filed. Something was filed in court, and that's how they got it.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, okay. So this is a legal thing that he has. Obviously, you have to get some lawyers to be able to put. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
So they're all like public. It's all public record stuff, and they kind of piece it together.
That's why you're here, Eric. That's why you're here.
Well,
to answer the questions. To answer the tough questions.
I answered the tough questions.
It makes sense.
There you go. There you go. All right, let's move ahead here. The World Boxing Super Series. The bracket is set for the Muhammad Ali Trophy in the cruiserweight. Listen to this lineup, man. Alexander Usyk versus Marco Huck. That's the first fight in the cruiserweight division. Murat Gaziev versus Krzysztof Włodarczyk. Maris Briedis versus Mike Perez. And Junior Dorticos versus Dmitry Kudashev. Those aren't bad fights, man. Those aren't bad fights at all. In the super middleweight division, George Groves versus Jamie Cox. Callum Smith versus Eric Skoglund. The Eubank versus Abraham winner. So Chris Eubank or Arthur Abraham will fight Avni Yildirim. And then Jürgen Bräumer versus Rob Brandt. So I think these are pretty good fights, man. And I tell you what, in the super middleweight division, I favor Chris Eubank. And in the cruiserweights, I mean, I think you gotta favor Usyk, right? I mean, I don't know any other way to go. Yeah. But Usyk versus Hook, man, how about that? That's a good fight. I like it. Robert, what do you think of this series?
It sounds interesting. Do we have TV dates for those yet?
I don't know. No, and I don't think they've been set yet. They just released the brackets yesterday.
Okay,
I think it was yesterday.
No, it'll be interesting to see. They sound interesting. I think George Groves and Chris Eubank would be an interesting match, don't you?
Yeah, that's not a bad fight either. That's not bad. So yeah, should be good, man. It should be good. I'm really looking forward to that. I like the tournament style, like the Boxino. I miss it.
Yeah, that was very well done, wasn't it, the Boxino?
I loved it, man. I really did.
Yeah, it was good.
Katie Taylor, Beeb Celebrity Crush. Katie Taylor will make her U.S. debut on the Broner Garcia undercard on July 29th. The opponent has not yet been determined. Beeb, why is Katie Taylor so popular? I mean, and is she the person to bring women's boxing out? Because, you know, I don't know. I mean, Clarissa Shields just doesn't seem to be getting any recognition or anything like that.
She's got it all. She's got the looks, she's got the personality, and she can fight.
Yeah.
And she's got a very, very entertaining style. And yeah. What's not to like about this girl? She's a good fighter, and she's got marketable. And she's with the best promoter in the world, in Eddie Hearn.
Oh, she's not with Tom Loeffler?
I thought she was with Eddie Hearn.
I thought she yeah, well, you said best promoter in the world. Must have threw me. Because I knew that.
Oh, I got you. I almost missed that one.
Yeah. Hey, no.
Eddie Hearn can take me with this 38-year-old crickety body, and he can make the Beeb style. He can put me in there with a couple soft touches. Get me some paydays. That's how great of a promoter he is. And I have arthritis in every joint in my body, but he'd get me some paydays.
Nice. All right. Chocolatito versus Rung Visai. The card is called Superfly, and it will take place at the StubHub in Carson, California. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez will rematch Srisaket So Rung Visai on the card. Also on the card, Naoya Inoue, the monster. This is the one everybody loves. Everybody talks about him like
loves this guy.
He'll take on Antonio Nieves. If you don't know,
that's a good fight.
Now you know. Nieves is from Cleveland and is going to hand Inoue the first loss of his career. And let me tell you what, he will do it in brutal fashion because that's in Ohio. All right, he ain't getting past this one. It's all over but the crying. Also on the card, Carlos Cuadras will take on Juan Francisco Estrada. How about that one? That's a good fight, right? That's a good fight too. There it is. As I said,
90 seconds
at the top of the show.
Chocolatito's promoter, by the way?
I think that's Tom Loeffler, isn't it?
That's
friend of the show. Friend of the show.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah, there we go.
I think it's I think it's Tekken Promotions. I think it's Tekken Promotions. I think it is.
I thought Tom Loeffler promoted Gonzalez.
Eric, because remember we talked to him about Roman in the interview.
Yeah, but Tekken is Tekken Promotions, I believe, handles Chocolatito, and I think Tom Loeffler works with them. I believe.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure.
He's involved somehow, somewhere.
Okay.
I'm willing to give him credit for it, though. If you're on the phone line, stay holding, and we'll get right to you. Don't worry. Just disregard the countdown here. Canelo versus Triple G is now sold out. Triple G promoter and friend of the show, Tom Loeffler, stated this week that tickets for the Triple G Canelo bout have completely sold out. If you want to watch, you'll have to catch it on pay-per-view. It will also be on closed circuit. How about that? How about that? Who would have thought that in a 20,000-seat arena it's going to sell out when they were talking about putting it in the stadium? Well, of course it's sold out. Insane. And good luck. I tell you, like, good luck getting a ticket for that one. You know, and ticket prices were crazy, weren't they? When they started at $350 for the nosebleeds.
10 seconds.
Wasn't it $350 for the nosebleeds?
And you know what's so funny? That's the only place in America where you could really sell, get those types of prices. People in Vegas will pay for those types of tickets.
Yeah, and it's sold out.
They'll do it.
It's sold out.
They'll do it.
And yeah, I don't know, man. Good luck getting away, and good luck going to like the third parties and getting tickets. Yeah, you think $350 was a lot? Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah, really.
All right.
It's hard to compete. It's hard to compete with Vegas. I'll tell you that.
100%. Area code 602. 602. You're live.
Hey, what's up, fellas? It's Brandon from Phoenix. How you guys doing today?
Hey, Brandon. How are you?
What's up, Brandon?
Good, man. Good, man. Hey, man, let's just get right into it, man. It was a really good fight this weekend with Davies versus Taylor.
Yeah.
Davies was hanging in there, man. He gave it everything he had. He did quit at the end, but I give him a lot of credit because he showed a lot of heart. I thought Taylor's body work was really what was the turning point in the fight. But it was a great fight, man. What did you guys think about that one?
I liked it. I liked it. I thought that it was all Taylor, though. I think that, and you're right, man. Davies showed a lot of heart. Listen, man, you get in there and take a beating like that for 7 rounds. That's, it's a lot. But, yeah, Taylor looked good. I can't wait to see Taylor again, honestly.
Yeah, when you meet your match, you meet your match. What can you do?
Yeah.
It was impressive. I mean, I like the way he put it all together. As far as like the scoring of the fight or how it was kind of like every time Davies got a little rally going in a round, Taylor would hit him with something big to kind of steal the round back from where I was seeing it at. Yeah. But it was a good fight. Then you had the Box Nation card, which was pretty decent. But I don't know. What do you guys think about Daniel Dubois? To me, he's probably one of the most interesting prospects that we have in boxing right now.
Beeb, you want to take that one? I'm not real familiar with Dubois.
I'm not 100% familiar with him either, man. I have to admit.
What is it?
Have you guys ever seen Dubois?
No. How many fights has he had?
He's a 20. I don't know. I think it's still under 10. But
okay.
He's like a 19, 20-year-old heavyweight. He's like 40. I mean, the guy is, he looks like a brick house. You know what I'm saying? And he's actually got a pretty good jab for somebody that young. So I don't know what he's going to be or anything like that. But every time I see him, he's just real interesting to me because he looks like he has the talent to be a major player in the heavyweight division, in the next couple of years.
That's
so you guys got to check him out. I mean, they're putting him in against absolute shit right now, but it's still worth a watch.
Yeah. So who did he fight this weekend? Who was it? Yeah, because I got him as TBA. It was a 4-round fight. Yeah. Who did he fight?
So somebody terrible, man. It was like a light heavyweight or something like that they had dragged up. I mean, like I said, the level of competition that they're putting him in right now is terrible.
How did Anthony Yard look? Did you catch the Anthony Yard fight?
He looked good. Yeah, I saw the Yard fight. He looked good.
He's another one that I hear a lot.
The level of competition, even though this was supposed to be a step up for him, still looked really bad. I mean, I don't know where he figures into the light heavyweight division, especially over there in the UK, because it seems like most of the guys are really fighting out over here. Even though there's a lot of Eastern Europeans and stuff like that in it, but he's another interesting one too. He's got all the athleticism and the explosiveness that you like to see, but we just got to see him in there against somebody.
Yeah, and what about Huey Fury? I heard he went to the 6th round. It was an exhibition fight, though. They had changed that up. They said the WBO wouldn't let him fight or something like that.
I don't know. I didn't see that one.
You didn't see the Huey Fury fight? Yeah, it was a 6th round. It was an exhibition fight. I heard he dominated all 6 rounds. It wasn't anything major, but yeah. and it was on that same card or whatever. So yeah, so he's definitely getting ready.
What do you guys think of Huey versus Parker? Because Huey just doesn't impress me. I don't know, man.
You know what? I'll tell you. You know what's funny though is that Tyson Fury never really impressed me either. I mean, he even in the Klitschko fight, he didn't really impress anybody. You know, I mean, but he won the fight.
He was the best. He was the best in that Klitschko fight. Took him to school.
I love the Furies. I love Tyson Fury and I like Huey Fury. There's something about their style, and there is something to be said for them the way they dictate the fight because they make the fighters fight their fight. I think Huey Fury beats Joseph Parker. I really do. That fight's in England too. I think he beats Joseph Parker.
They're all about ring generalship. They are
for sure.
Mistake about it.
Yeah,
that's true. They make you fight on their terms, and you know it's very important. It's just I think I watched him versus Fred Cassie, and I just didn't come away with like blown away by this guy. You know what I'm saying?
I've never been blown away.
What they are is that they're big, tall guys that are athletic and coordinated.
Yeah,
but I'm not crazy about Joseph Parker too, from what I've seen about him.
No, I'm not big on Joseph Parker at all.
He looks very, very robotic.
Very beatable.
Just looks
very beatable.
One-dimensional. Very stiff.
Yeah.
Hell, Andy Ruiz could have beat him. I mean,
a lot of people thought he won that fight. Yeah, a lot of people thought he won that fight.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about Joseph Parker. He's probably the most beatable heavyweight champion out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is correct.
So if you're going to fight for a title,
let me get to the real reason why I called in was. Tell me if I heard this right. Is Usyk fighting Gassiev in the first round?
Yeah, let me read this over here. Let me see here. Let me No. Murat Gassiev is fighting Krzysztof Włodarczyk. And
okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Junior Ortikos versus Dmitry Kudryashov, and then Maris Briedis versus Mike Perez, and Usyk versus Marco Huck, which I think is a really good fight. And so they bracketed the way it looks at the bracket says 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know if these are seeds or if they seeded them this way or what the deal is, but I guess it has to be because so I wonder if Usyk would take on Briedis or the winner of Briedis Perez next. I don't exactly know. That's usually how the brackets work, but it's just listed. So
that's crazy, man. That tournament is good. That tournament is going to be the best thing that's happened in boxing in a really long time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of really good fighters in there, and I mean, Usyk is good, but he's not unbeatable.
No.
So I mean, he would be the favorite, but I wouldn't be surprised if Briedis or Gassiev beat him. Kudryashov is a huge puncher. It's just Mike Perez is kind of the wild card in all this. Since he slimmed down and lost the weight, I mean, he looks rocked up and ready to go. So it's going to be a great tournament, man. It's going to be a great tournament.
Who do you like in the super middles on that? I mean, they got George Grove as the #1 seed. I like Chris Eubank to win everything there.
I don't know, man. Eubank. Eubank. He lost to Billy Joe Saunders. I just don't know, man.
But you know what? It was a disputed decision.
It really is.
It wasn't a clear cut.
I mean,
go
ahead.
It was disputed. It was a disputed decision. A lot of people thought Eubank had won that fight, but I thought Saunders had won that fight. But I know it was close. It was a very close fight.
You should be able to clearly beat Billy Joe Saunders. I'm sorry.
Saunders is good, though.
Come on. I mean, that Russian guy Arkov basically beat him. He just didn't get the decision.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's hard for me to pick somebody I like. I think George Groves is the most accomplished of all these guys, but
for sure.
I don't know if at this point in his career if George can make it through 4 tough fights. I mean, if it was just one fight against any of these guys, maybe I would pick George to win. But in this type of he's going to have to fight a succession of tough fights, I just don't know if his body's going to be able to hold up through it. So I think maybe the youth of Callum Smith maybe has something to do with it. Rob Brandt, I've seen him one time on Showbox. He was impressive, but I don't know too much more about him other than that. I've never seen this Skoglund guy. So we'll have to see, man. So maybe I'm going with Smith. Maybe that's what I'm going with. I don't know. I hate to say that. Maybe I'm going with Callum Smith.
Callum Smith, that's not a bad pick.
I don't know.
Not a bad pick at all.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe I'm going with Smith, man. Eubank is the wild card, but yeah, man, I'll take Smith in that one. Well, I'll let you guys get on with the show, man. I got to feed my kids here real quick, man. But y'all keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm listening, all right?
All right. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Later.
All right, man. Very good. Yeah, I'm excited for that series. I really am. I mean, I like the cruiserweights more than the super middleweights, but I like them both, man. I think they're both. You got exciting fights in both sets right there, man, for sure. So cannot wait. Rob, are you excited about this?
Yeah, that's why I asked about the TV thing, because I think that both divisions are going to be worth watching. So I'm looking forward to it.
There it is. All right. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert or call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. Catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1. Find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.